up. There is a bigger issue going on than Palestine or Israel. It is the fact that the Muslim world is marshalling the cause of Palestine to draw you into circles of influence and lower your guard so that they can advance Sharia law that would make you a second-class citizen in your own land. Go on, Yahya.
Thank you for listening politely, Yahya.
Who are the real terrorists? Who are the real terrorists? In 2009,
I'm not Polish.
Bro, don't feed the troll. The more you engage him, the more he'll talk.
In 2009, 22 days, 1,104 civilian Palestinians were dead. In 2014, 55 days, there's 2,200 civilians dead. By who? By who? Every time Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu lose the power, he turn against the Palestinians and kill them by sea, by land, by air. And what are they doing for Palestinians? And what was the reason now the Palestinians are killed and destroyed? Because the police, the Jewish police invade the mosque in the last 3 days in Ramadan and attack the unarmed worshipper Muslim inside the mosque. They broke the door, they went inside, bullet, a grenade, a bomb against peaceful prayer. 680 people were injured. Then Hamas what done? They wait 3 days and they want the Israeli to stop the humiliation and the oppression of the Palestinians inside the mosque, which by international law they should have respect at least for the people. What was the answer from Benjamin Netanyahu? He went and Hamas started to send missiles, and that's the only way they have, because the technology is with the Israeli backed up by everyone, even against United Nations.
Yeah, can I reply?
Yeah, please reply.
Okay, so guys, let's just be clear about something. Go and look at your facts. There is a reason why Israel is not bombing the West Bank, because there are not rockets being fired from the West Bank. There is a reason, let me finish, there is a reason why Israel is bombing the Gaza Strip, because there are missiles being fired from the Gaza Strip. Now, Yahya talked about the Palestinians saying, stop the humiliation. Oh, I remember a certain verse in the Quran that says, fight against the people of the book until they pay the jizya and feel themselves humiliated. So Yahya is saying that Israel shouldn't humiliate Palestine and Palestinians whilst believing in a book that says that Muslims should humiliate Christians and Jews. And this is the double standard of the narrative being created by Muslims about this issue. Israel treats Arab citizens better than a Sharia caliphate will treat Christians and Jews. So we can't take lectures from Islamists.
Would you allow me to respond?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. In West Bank, all the Palestinians, they are under the rule of the Israeli, and because they are demonstrating peacefully, 11 people lost their life. Any Palestinian coming close to checkpoint, they've been shot dead. 11 people. The Israeli, they have many checkpoints, and the Palestinians are humiliated on each checkpoint, and they are never treated equally. This is one. And you talk about the Quran. The Quran, it teaches fight who fight you, but it doesn't teach if somebody slap you on the right, tell him the left, because God wants you to be with dignity and not to be humiliated. And when I said the Jew, the soldier Jew invade the mosque, they don't have the right, because imagine if a state, Islamic state, let's say Iraq or Saudi, they invade a mosque or synagogue and start to bomb and harm the worshipper. What would the world will be against that what they have done?
So let me reply.
Thank you.
Let me reply.
Can I say something, just one?
Go on.
My name is Yahya, Islam Defender, and I'm blocked even on his channel.
Okay.
When I put on his channel my comment is removed.
Okay, can I right. So let's talk about what he said. Notice he again appealed to this idea of humiliation and of discrimination. Now, in Saudi Arabia, you can't even be a citizen of Saudi Arabia and a Christian. In Iran, only recently, in the last 5 years, have they allowed the blood money that's paid for the life of Christians to be equal to that of Muslims. In Saudi Arabia, when a Christian is murdered, the blood money that is paid for that murdered Christian is half that of a Muslim. They talk about humiliation. They believe in a system of laws that would humiliate Jews and Christians. Let us remember what Muslims did to Hagia Sophia Church. They've turned it into a mosque. They did that recently. The fact of the matter is that Muslims who are talking about Palestine and Israel and are talking about the injustices suffered by Israel, a good number of those same Muslims would want to treat Christians and Jews as worse than Israel treats its Palestinian citizens. Furthermore, we see that this kind of behavior is something that has been practiced for 1400 years by every Islamic empire. Do not take lectures from Muslims about the injustices of Israel without pointing out the injustices implicit within Sharia law. The Quran states, fight those, I'll read it to you.
Fight those who fight
I'll just read it to you.
Yeah.
This is what the Quran actually says. Remember, Yahya said, if the Quran says, fight those who fight you. This is actually what the verse says. Fight against those who believe not in Allah.
Come on.
Listen, it gets worse. Gets worse. Fight against those who believe not in Allah, nor in the last day, nor forbid that which has been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger, and those who acknowledge not the religion of truth amongst the people of the book. Who's the people in the book? Christians and Jews. Until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. That word subdued can also be translated humiliated. So he's lecturing Israel about humiliation whilst justifying a religion that wants to humiliate Christians and Jews. Yeah, go on.
Okay. Read Deuteronomy 13, 14, 16. This is for apostasy. Even your own brother, father, mother, friend, you kill him by yourself and you stone him to death. Second, in your own Bible, it says kill non-believer. While the Quran, it doesn't allow you to go but defend yourself and kill who kill you. Because let me remind you that the Prophet, he ran away from Mecca to Medina, 460 kilometers, for the Meccan to go after him, to kill him and to kill all his people. And then they are defending themselves. That's why they have the treaty in Medina along with the Jew who betrayed the prophet and tried to kill him. And that's why they've been slaughtered according to the law of Moses, because the punishment of a traitor is to put to death. And I give you more reference if you allow me. Now you can respond to me.
Okay, so Yahya didn't address the verse at all. Let's look at what 1400 years, let's look at what has happened over 1400 years of Islamic empires. These are the kinds of discriminatory practices that Christians had to endure and have endured for 1400 years. Muslims can own Christian slaves. This was when slavery was normal, but Christians can't own Muslim slaves. Muslims can marry Christian women, but Christian men can't marry Muslim women. Christians can convert to Islam, but Muslims can't convert to Christianity. Muslims can repair their mosques, but Christians can't repair their churches. Christians can't build new churches in areas where Muslims will be offended. They have to build it outside of the city. Christians can't display their faith openly and outwardly. They had to pay a special tax, sometimes as high as 50%. Not like the zakat, not like the zakat of 2.5%, but higher. Christian children were kidnapped and forcibly converted to Islam. Janissaries. Christian churches were desecrated. Christian religious symbols destroyed. And this has happened in every Islamic empire, from the Iberian Peninsula to that which ruled North Africa and the Middle East, and that which occupied Eastern Europe. Christians, learn your history, speak your history, learn the hagiographies, learn the stories of the martyrs, learn the stories of the confessors, and don't take lectures about Palestine and Israel from people who want to justify these kinds of Sharia laws upon Christians. Yes, condemn Israel and its successors.
Condemn such people.
Condemn the terrorists inside the Gaza Strip and the Muslim community. Call out Muslims like Ali Dawah and Mansour who won't condemn terrorists. Stand up for justice. Stand up for the persecuted church. Your reply.
Thank you very much for giving me the platform to respond to you, and thank you very much. The Prophet, peace upon him, there is something called Constitution of Al-Madinah. I would like you to read it and to see. The Prophet, peace upon him, he gave the right for all the Jew and all the Christian, except in Al-Madinah and except in Mecca, that they have their own. But the Prophet, peace upon him, have said as well, anyone who are harming a Christian or a Jew, he's harming me and personal. Because the Prophet, peace upon him, he didn't come only to bring Islam and Muslim, but the message of equality between everyone, as the Quran says, that we are, in the eyes of God, we are equal, like the teeth of a comb. All the people, regardless of their race, color, and religion. And this is the communication between Muslim and Christian should be based on common sense and respect and dialogue, not shouting and trying. Regarding the kill non-believer from the own Bible, you have, as I mentioned, Deuteronomy 13:6-9. You have Deuteronomy 17:3-5, 2 Chronicles 15:13, Deuteronomy 13:19, Romans 1:24-32, Exodus 22:19. And this is what, according to the Bible itself, God wants believer and he doesn't want non-believer. And when even Jesus come, even the Jew, they reject him as their Messiah, and they try to kill him many times. This is why God, save him, and you're attacking the Sharia law, but you don't even look at the same way at the law of Moses, which is more strict and more savage. Back to you.
Okay, so Yaya's got himself into a lot of trouble now, and he doesn't even realize why.
When did Moses?
He's got him. Yaya's got himself into a lot of trouble, and he doesn't understand why. So, firstly, let's just talk about the Pact of Medina. The Pact of Medina is actually one of the evidences that demonstrates that the Islam of the 7th century is not the same as the Islam of today. Why? Because the Pact of Medina talks about Jews and Muslims as being one ummah. But Muslims don't use that language today. They don't consider Jews as part of the ummah, which means that something changed between the time of the Pact of Medina and the time that later comes along, where Jews and Christians are seen as being outside the ummah. In other words, the Islam that we have today wasn't the Islam of Muhammad, but it gets worse. Because the contract of Medina was replaced by the Pact of Umar. And in the Pact of Umar, it very clearly creates apartheid, discriminatory laws against Jews and Christians. So Yahya says, look to the Pact of Medina. But Umar himself didn't look at the Pact of Medina. He didn't think it relevant. He created his own pact. And in that pact, Jews and Christians were treated as second-class citizens. Now, Muslims for 1400 years, in every single example, from the time of Muhammad to the time of ISIS and every Islamic empire in between, have treated Christians as second-class citizens. Why? Because their hadiths and their Quran teach them to do so. So what cheek, what double standards, what hypocrisy does Ali Dawah and Mansour and the other Muslim I spoke to have to condemn Israel for its treatment of Palestinians when they would treat us far worse if they are ever given the opportunity to do so? Christians, wake up. There is a bigger issue going on than Palestine or Israel. It is the fact that the Muslim world is marshalling the cause of Palestine to draw you into circles of influence and lower your guard so that they can advance Sharia law that would make you a second-class citizen in your own land. Christians, wake up. Build networks of solidarity to stand with Palestinian Christians, Nigerian Christians, Sudanese Christians, Ethiopian Christians, Burmese Christians, Iraqi Christians, Armenian Christians, Serbian Christians, Filipino Christians, North Korean Christians, Chinese Christians, Somalian Christians, Israeli Christians. This is where we need to stand as a church. Don't be bought into their lies. Yeah, you can have the last word. Oh, one more thing and then you can have the last word and I'll stop. Yahya, whose name actually references the God of Israel, not the God of Muhammad, but Yahya quotes verses from the Old Testament to try and justify the prejudicial statements of the Quran. But as always, he forgets that Christians read the Bible through a covenant system. The old covenant has been replaced by the new covenant. And he can't find a single verse in the New Testament that calls for the killing of apostates. But his hadiths call for the killing of Muslims who become Christians. Something even Israel does not do. Yeah.
Don't make it too long.
First, Omar, he didn't pray in the church, so the Muslims, they don't invade the church and pray inside of this. And he gives the right for the Christian at this time, at his time, and the Jew. And when the Islamic Empire were at its strongest, they give the right for the Jew and the Christian even to pay jizya, because they are under the rule of the Muslim and under the protection of the Muslim. And Islam has given the right and the justice system to all the Christians. You might disagree. You might disagree. Second, Jesus, peace upon him, he said, "Do not think I come to abolish or destroy the law and the prophet." This is true. That means he was under the law of Moses, which he said, anyone who remove even a dot from the law, he will be called the least in the kingdom.
You have heard.
Please.
You have heard.
Please.
No, I say.
Please. He said, anyone who removes even a dot, he will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. That means he rejects, and Jesus, he did not teach a new religion called Christianity, but he came to the lost sheep of Israel, and he commanded his apostle not to go to Gentiles or Smartian, rather go to only the house of the Israel. And you people are, like a leech, sticking yourself to Jesus, which he didn't come to you. And I disagree. I disagree that only after the resurrection, because it contradicts that go among the whole nation, because he stays 3 years preaching only for the Jew, commanding his apostle to preach only for the Jew. And it's contradiction after the resurrection to say to his people, go to all nations. Yes, regarding the law of Moses, I'm gonna give you only 2 or 3, because I guess I always rely on references. Deuteronomy, I mentioned that. Kill follower of other religion. Deuteronomy 22, 20, 21. Chapter 22, 20, 21. Kill the follower of other religion. As well, kill false prophet. Deuteronomy 13, 1, 5. And I will in the comment section put the rest, because I don't want to talk for long, and now I'm start to losing my voice, and he can shout for 3 days without stopping.
Thanks be to God. Okay, yeah. Look after yourself. Happy Eid. Happy Eid.
Thank you very much.
So we are stopping now. We are stopping, but I just need to do a wrap up, and then I'm gonna go, guys.
Yeah, we got.
Right? We Christians have a choice. We can buy into the politics of what the world tells us we should think is important, or we can buy into what our faith teaches us is important. We can involve people in the plight of the persecuted church, but we can only do that if we speak out about the persecuted church. And the thing is, what the Islamists are doing is they're bringing people into the sphere of Islam through the cause of the Palestinian. So as Christians, we need to bring people into the sphere of the Christian faith through the cause of the persecuted church. And we need to expose the fact that Christians would be treated worse under Sharia law than any Palestinian is tread under Israeli law. Christians, find your voice, find your balls, find your spine, find your identity, find your solidarity. It's never going to come from the leadership. It has to come from us.
Yes.
Now, brothers and sisters, Yahya, bless him, you can tell when Yahya's done on a topic because he changes it completely from what you were talking about. Christ, we were talking about Palestine and Israel and Sharia law. What we weren't talking about was the fact that Jesus came to replace the law or not. That's a different topic.
Oh, Jesus
So
said,
guys,
I have come to fulfill the law.
I've got, what time, depending on the time, I'm either going to go, what time is it?
6 o'clock.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So, God bless you all.
God
No, I'm going to
Just
go.
one verse,
No, I'm going to
one
go.
verse, one
Yeah,
verse.
I'm going to go.
One verse.
I'm going, Yahya.
What I'm
God bless
say-
you.
What I want
Yahya,
to say, what I
Yahya,
want
I'm
to say
going.
is
I'm
better,
going, Yahya.
It's better
God
that we
bless you.
bring people to,
Yahya.
into,
Yeah, but
as the-
Ali
as
Dawa's
the
not
love
doing
of
that.
God, we bring people into love of God to communicate.
Yeah, Ali Dawa's
Instead
not
of
doing
try
that.
to bring
Mansour
division.
is not doing that.
No, what I'm saying, instead of bringing division between Muslim and Christianity and promote
Yeah.
division and hate,
Yeah.
we need to
this
bring,
good thing to
we
them.
need to bring
Okay, preach that to them.
communication.
Preach that to them. Yeah, yes. Thank you, Uncle Asif.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.